It's day 45, 10:07 a.m. here in the Big Brother UK All-Stars house. We're starting off the morning over at the main house where everyone is slowly getting their day started. A lot of the house guests seem to be a little bit hungry, but no one's really motivated to actually start cooking up breakfast. Meanwhile, over in the cottage, our four nominees, Charlie, Luke, Ryland, and Craig, are getting their day started. They're out chatting by the cow shed. And actually, the cow has been sleeping for the past 2 days, hasn't left the shed, is really depressed, and the shed's pretty dirty. None of them have been taking too good care of her, and they really need to step it up or else she might leave. So Ryland's going to go in there now and start trying to clean up the place a little bit. At 12:11 p.m., over at the main house, Big Brother decides to go ahead and treat these house guests with a new task. He calls all of them up to the Sky Lounge, where the sofas have been replaced with meditation puffs. And all of the house guests are going to have to find a seat, sit down on it, and meditate. And whichever house guest can meditate the longest will actually win 100 big bucks. We see that Brian has actually got out of the shower or showering in the rain, whatever he was doing, and has walked up there naked. It seems to have distracted at least Davina. However, he quickly puts on some clothes before starting the challenge, as slowly but surely Gemma and Cameron do make their way up here. Alright, so once all of the house guests are ready, they all pick a puff and go ahead, change to their gym outfits, and sit down and start meditating. Now, I know a lot of challenges online, you're like out when they open their eyes or anything like that, but we're going to strictly do this as an endurance-based competition. So whichever house guest can do it the longest, no matter how long it takes, they will win. And so far, the competition is off and it's at a steady pace, and it probably will be like that for a while. So we're going to go ahead and cut back over to the cottage, where over there, again, the cow is having to get some care taken of. After the shed has now been cleaned by Ryland, she is still asleep and has not left. However, Craig slowly does make his way over to everyone else in the garden and starts having a conversation with them. My game was acting pretty glitchy, mainly due to the update and everything like that. So, I don't know. A lot of my house guests over here in the cottage weren't really doing too much apart from this right here for quite a while. At 2:12 p.m., Isabelle, Brian, and Pete are the first three to give up on the meditation task, and all three of them actually make their way downstairs and head straight towards the sauna. So they kind of were like, well, we're over this form of meditation, but we still are into the relaxing kind of mood, so let's go ahead and head on into the sauna and relax together. But weirdly, they all strip down. They go to strip down naked from the looks of it. However, with them all being there at the same time, none of them wanted to. I don't know, it was pretty weird. It was the quickest sauna session I've ever seen. Over in the cottage, it looks as though Luke wants to get in the hot springs. However, again, my game was being pretty glitchy, so he kept going to try to get in it. Maybe it was too hot, maybe it was too gross, I'm not too sure, but he does end up just going over and heading over to the birds. Meanwhile, inside, Charlie has noticed that their little purple friend, his cage is pretty filthy and he's pretty hungry. So Charlie goes ahead, cleans up his cage, gives him some new food, gives him a little treat, and tries to make him feel a little bit better. Even though he's really weird, I gotta say he is pretty cute, and I do like him more than the rats that are crawling all over the ground. Back in the main house, we see that everyone is still going pretty strong in the competition until, of course, Cameron gives up. So he goes ahead, he leaves the Sky Lounge, and he goes and heads back downstairs to find out what everyone else is doing. And left in the competition, we have Davina, Josie, Gemma, and Allison. Cameron obviously goes over. His first instincts are to head towards the kitchen and head towards the bar, which is his favorite spot in the house. I gotta say, I need to do a tally of how many times I've said that this series. Cameron is at the bar. Cameron's at his favorite spot, the bar. Watching this, go ahead and take a shot, take a hit, whatever, every time that I say that. Back in the Sky Lounge, we see that Gemma has closely followed Cameron in quitting the meditation competition as well. And now we are down to our final three, Davina, Allison, and Josie. And Gemma actually is again feeling that relaxation mode that everyone else is kind of feeling as well, and she heads into the bathroom to go and take a bath. However, she does not want to do it with other people watching. She wants to have this whole bathroom to herself, and it's somewhat easy to do now that they have less numbers in the house. However, I'm sure it won't last very long. However, she still gets Brian and Isabelle to get out of there. She shoos them away. She fills up the bath, and she actually decides to take a nice citrus soak. So she puts some citrus fruits in there, puts a face mask on, and she's relaxing in there by herself for as long as she's able to. At 4:41 p.m., over in the cottage, we see that Charlie has gone ahead and called the cow out of the shed. She's woken the cow up after 2 days of sleep, and as we can see, she is pretty filthy. So Charlie actually goes ahead, she pets her, she gives her some food, and she goes ahead and brushes and cleans her because she really deserves some nice TLC. And again, I love cows, so seeing the cow all dirty and just sleeping for 2 days is so sad. I feel like she's depressed. Yeah, I don't know, and her big eyes, I don't know, I just find it so sad. But thankfully Charlie goes ahead and cleans her up, makes her feel better, and makes it so she doesn't want to run away from the Big Brother house. She doesn't want to quit. She's here to stay now that she feels a little bit more loved. Meanwhile, inside the cottage, we see that Craig has decided to go ahead and make some food for the group. And as you can tell and probably see through that little exit door, the house guests from the last eviction, all of our past house guests, still have not left. All the doors are unlocked. I've told them to go away. For some reason, they just won't, and they are being so loud. And I gotta say, I feel bad for Craig. He can obviously hear what's going on back there while in the kitchen, so he just hears this party. He guesses if it's his past house guests. I don't know. It kind of adds a factor to this cottage where they're extra separated, not only from the house guest in the house, but they also hear this party going on outside the house as they're just kind of sitting in this limbo of, are they going to go home on Friday or are they not? Over in the main house, we see that the competition between the three girls is still going strong, while in the kitchen, Cameron is still bartending. However, he is talking it up with Brian and Pete as the three of them are getting along. Brian, of course, as soon as I announce that he's sitting there, has to get up and leave, and Gemma actually comes and joins the conversation, and Isabelle, who was hanging out in the storage room, ends up coming over and taking Brian's spot and kind of joins in on the party. They're all just kind of still hanging out. Everyone's kind of slowly coming in and out of conversation with Cameron. He seems to be kind of everyone's main host right now as they all wait for the results of the meditation task. However, the three of them, Davina, Allison, and Josie, are still going pretty strong, all just breathing. None of them have really moved too much, and I'm not too sure who's going to take the crown of 100 big bucks. Gemma is actually going around the house and doing some cleaning, picking up trash, doing dishes, and not only that, but I haven't turned my Roomba on, and instead of him just going throughout the house has actually gotten a little bit dusty, and there seems to be a few dust bunnies here and there throughout the house, and Gemma is sick of it. She is ready to go ahead. She pulls out her vacuum eventually, and she starts vacuuming up the house, getting rid of all those dust bunnies. I think it's kind of weird that a lot of the Sims enjoy the smell of dust. They're like, oh, this dust smells nice. It's like, what? I think they would instantly get annoyed as soon as the dust bunnies appear, but I guess not. I don't know. Eventually, though, back in the Sky Lounge, we see that Davina has eventually given up, coming in third in their competition. However, the only person that's going to get a prize in this is the first place winner. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. And I gotta say, a lot of people's crotches, a lot of the Sims crotches look really strange while they're doing this. And we see that Allison is catching some peeks at Josie, maybe losing a little bit of that endurance, getting a little bit distracted. We're going to have to see how she holds up. Meanwhile, back in the cottage, we see that the house guests are enjoying the dinner that Craig has cooked up. Ryland is making himself a nice little dessert marshmallow by the fire, and they're all just kind of hanging out together. I think Luke is like in the bathroom or something like that. I'm not too sure where he is. We see that Craig seems to be a little bit irritated while Ryland's paying him no attention, just burning his mouth on the hot marshmallows. And, oh, actually, yeah, Luke is, of course, asleep in the hot tub. Duh. At 7:08 p.m., over in the cottage, Craig finally gets the idea to get some mouse traps and put them in the little mouse holes in the walls in hopes that they can kill some of these rats that are crawling around in the cottage. They have about 4 to 5 to 6 of them just crawling all around, and it's always grabbing their attention. It's very much giving me my Sims Survivor flashbacks, if any of you guys are from my Survivor days. And if not, make sure to go ahead and check all my past series out in my playlist on my profile. But we see that Ryland isn't really paying attention to the mice as he is reading a nice book, and Luke is enjoying that dinner that Craig made a little bit earlier, and he sits down to eat while Craig makes his way over to the other mouse trap to try to secure that one. The other mouse hole to put a mouse trap in there, hoping to catch some more mice and get rid of this problem completely. Meanwhile, the rest of the housemates slowly gather into the living room. They're all trying to kind of hang out with one another. Luke's not too sure where he wants to sit. He doesn't really want to sit with Charlie. He tries to go and sit and talk with Ryland, but Ryland's not really paying any attention. He's just reading a book. And of course, all of them have to instantly get distracted by the mice crawling around. It kind of prevents them from doing a lot of actions that go down in any of the spaces near the mouse holes. It's kind of my issue with those. However, we see in the main house, a lot like Ryland, Gemma is just kind of hanging out and reading a book. I tried to focus in on her, however, you hear that? I'm like, what is that noise? Why did it stop? Turns out, over in the cottage, Charlie has tried to steal from Luke. We know that Charlie has 0 BigBucks, so she's trying to just find any means necessary to get some, and it instantly causes a fight. They soon leave the couch, start shoving each other. A full-on rumble goes down, and this is not Charlie's first fight. We know that already going into this, and it instantly gets pretty nasty, and it isn't fight day, it isn't anything like that. And a couple of days ago, she had gotten in a fight with Makosi while they were over here, so this isn't looking too good. Even though Charlie ends up winning the fight, Big Brother goes ahead and calls her into the diary room. Alright, Charlie, I've called you in here because I need you to calm down, I need you to take a seat, and I need to talk to you because, as you know, previously we have given you a warning about physical violence. It is not allowed in the Big Brother house, and even though you are up for eviction and have gotten the most votes to save, unfortunately, due to this, you need to leave the house now. And after throwing a drink in my face, and already getting kicked out due to physical violence, we are not going to even bother taking her into the studio to do an interview. However, we are going to show you her relationship statuses with everyone. As you can see, everyone basically hates her. The people that don't hate her, they're still very low. Her closest person would be Craig. However, she has no big bucks to donate to him, so she will not be donating anything, and it is now her time to leave. Goodbye, Charlie. And I'm sorry to everyone that voted to save her, but I just can't have her staying here after so many warnings of physical violence. I did not tell her to do that, and you know what, now I'm just kind of deciding we still have an eviction plan. We're supposed to do that already. I missed premiering an episode, so why don't we just go ahead, let's cut back to the cottage and gather all of our nominees into the living room. It, of course, causes a little bit of issues due to the mice, so a lot of our house guests won't sit down. We see that Ryland and Luke keep getting up and walking around to go see the mice, but eventually I do get them seated, even if it is with a lot of glitches going on. Now, like I said, we were supposed to already have an eviction plan for tomorrow, but after this, I'm just going to go ahead and have the eviction today. The three of you, Craig, Ryland, and Luke, everyone has been voting to save, and I gotta now reveal that unfortunately, Luke, you have been evicted from the Big Brother house. Say your goodbyes, head out the front door, 'cause Hot Dogs is coming to get you.
Shut. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, Luke, it's pretty ironic that not only Charlie and you got into this fight, but now that both of you are leaving the house. Not necessarily both because of it. You were already going to go home due to the amount of save votes not being enough. It originally was going to be you and Craig. However, with Charlie's actions, it ended up being you and her due to you having the most votes, or should I say the least votes to save. Looking at your relationship statuses, we see that you were close to Pete, Ryland, Cameron, a lot of the boys, with Cameron being your closest, so you're going to donate all of your big bucks to him, and of course Charlie was your least favorite person in the house, obviously, but unfortunately that is the last we'll be seeing of Luke. Of course, hopefully he might be able to actually leave the house, unlike all of our past house guests from last time, or he might just stick around. We'll have to wait and see. However, back in the main house during the surprise eviction, Allison actually came in second in our meditation competition, making Josie the official winner, and therefore she has an extra 100 big bucks in her inquiry. To see all the updated inquiries, it's of course down in the description below. And also with that eviction comes the end of the cottage twist. What do you think of the cottage? I mainly just love the house. I think it's a super cute house. I don't know. But we have Ryland and Craig returning from the cottage and back into the main house. And this is where I have to announce that I will be taking a week off. However, when we get back, it'll be a week full of evictions with a house guest leaving every weekday of that week, okay? And you guys have to vote for who you want to evict. Out of all of the house guests for the rest of the week, you have the whole week. You can head over to my Twitter to vote as well. But all of the house guests are up for eviction. You have to vote for who you want to evict. And someone will be leaving the house every single day. Not next week, because I'll be taking that week off for you guys to vote. But the week after, we will have that week of eviction. And then guess what? will be entering the final week of the show. We only have 2 weeks left of this. We can get through it, and I cannot wait to see who makes it through to our finale week, who makes it to the finals, and it all comes down to this. So who do you want to evict from the Big Brother house? Vote down below in the comments or head over on my Twitter, and I will see you guys in another week. Bye.